Let's talk today about why you might feel like your pain or any other physical symptoms that you might be experiencing feel like they are controlling your life. And why is it that you're feeling stuck no matter what you try and do when it comes to physical treatments using the conventional system, and where things are just not progressing the speed or the way you want it to. So I'm going to take a few minutes to break it down for you in a simple way. I created this diagram that I called the F.I.R.E loop. And this is going to help you understand why, when you're in pain and you behave a certain way, or you feel a certain way, or you avoid a certain thing, that it might perpetuate your pain or amplify it and keep you stuck. Okay, I have my notes with me because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. There's lots to cover, but I'm going to keep it very simple and sweet as much as possible. The F.I.R.E loop. FIRE stands for fear, intensity, reactivity, and escalation. Okay, these are the four phases that occurs subconsciously within your body when you experience pain, and that's what's keeping you stuck. So we start with fear. When we experience pain, most of us, we feel fear. It might be disguised under frustration or anger, but most of us, we feel a sensation that's really not pleasant, and we start to either panic, worry about it. We feel a form of fear. Now, and frustration, and whatever triggers is happening, could be fear of the pain, the anticipation of the pain you might feel. You might be experiencing fear of the injury itself, or fear of damaging it, making it worse. It could also be your fear based on previous trauma experiences, or previous injuries or mechanism of injuries, whether it was a motor vehicle accident, a break, a fall, doesn't really matter. Anything from the past that your body remembers or that you remember might produce that fear. Okay? When we feel fear, this will automatically send a danger signal to your brain. Remember, our brain, the primitive job of our brain is to scan your environment to make sure that you are safe. So if you start to feel fear, your brain will pick that up as danger, and it's going to send signals to your nervous system, and your nervous system, we're going to get ready and put itself into a survival mode. Okay? Now, the second stage or phase that fear will do, it will intensify your symptoms, not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally. Okay? This is where everything just amplifies. And you might notice here that you might become more sensitive to sensations, to sound. Your pain might linger or really drag on for days, longer than it has in the past. So I'm going to give you an example, personal example that will put this into context for myself. I used to suffer with migraines, and back in the day, so a few years ago, before I knew any of this, when I had migraine flare-ups, they could last up to 3 days where I was in bed with Gravol. No other pain medications would just help, and I just had to sleep it off. There was nothing I could do, and so my nervousness at the time was so hyper vigilant, and everything was just very much amplified. And so it took much longer at the time to recover. Now, since I've been doing this work, I rarely have migraines. If I do, and we're talking like 1 or twice a year, if I do, I know exactly what to do. My volume does not go up, and I can actually get rid of them within less than a day. So it's completely different than how it was to. But this is an example of what the intensity fear can do when it comes to the intensity of your pain symptoms. Now, the next phase, when this happens, we as human beings, we fall into an automated behavior response. Okay, so this goes into reactivity. The reactivity phase, which is the response phase, is all about the relationship you have with your pain, the relationship you have even with your body, with your health, with you, with the diagnosis. What does that look like? That relationship will influence how you respond to your pain experience. Okay? So I'm going to try and simplify this even more. When you feel pain, notice how you respond to it. There are 6 common patterns that most human beings will fall into when it comes to behavioral reactions. Okay, I'm going to list them very quickly. I'm going to do another video about that to give you more relatable examples so you can understand where you fall into. But for today, there's 6 common patterns. So when we feel pain, we react. We either try and fight it or fix it. So this is where you want to try every treatment possible. You're going to run to the physio, then you're going to have chiro, then you're going to do this, then you're going to have acupuncture, then you're going to do your stretches. Okay, we're going to do anything to try and fix it. You can also Google it all the time. If you're noticing, you tend to do tons of research to figure out why this is happening. Okay, this falls into the F category, the facts, the responses. So this is the fixing, fighting a response. You might even push through pain. How many of you will pretend it's fine when it's not? So when we say, oh, I'm fine, and you keep pushing through it, your nervous system will pick that up as danger. Okay, the second one is A for avoiding. When we stop doing activities or movement because of the fear, it will trigger pain or create pain flare-ups. Or perhaps you feel pain and you're going to stop moving because it's too painful. So avoiding movement, skipping activities, pulling way back in life, right? Your social circle might become smaller and smaller. So it's really looking at behavioral patterns that are related to avoidance. The third one, C, which is catastrophizing. Very common as well. If your nervous system tends to be very hypervigilant and oversensitized, it will tend to catastrophize. Okay, so what I mean by that is notice the worries, the stories you tell yourself or others, right? If you tend to, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Am I going to be able to go back to work? Is this going to be for life? I know if I do this, this will happen, and this will happen, and this will happen. So notice the story that you give around your pain and your symptoms, perhaps your diagnosis as well. Okay. T, that is the fourth response, is tensing and bracing. So holding tension in your body because, again, fear of movement. Or if you tend to have back pain and you were told or you noticed every time you bend forward or bend, that's what's triggering your pain. So even if you don't have pain, you might notice you will brace yourself before you bend forward out of fear that it will trigger your pain. And then the last one, S, which is scanning and checking. So when you experience pain, do you constantly scan your body? Are you constantly monitoring your body for pain? You're noticing a sensation. Is this still there? And you're touching it. You're wanting perhaps to get imagery, scans, x-rays, because there's a bit of paranoia there perhaps. Okay. So these are, and then, oh, sorry, the last one, which is I'm going to weave in here because it will be something I'm going to talk about in the later videos. Notice some personality traits that you might have. The latest neuroscience have shown that people pleasing, perfectionism, anxiousness, conscientiousness, there are 4 personality traits that if they're very dominant in your life, they can over time suppress emotion and create a lot of internal pressure, internal stress, and fear in your body. And that can also keep you stuck in this loop. Okay? So now we move on, noticing your reaction. And then what happens if we behave in one or several of the ways I've just listed, then this will only escalate your pain. So this is reinforcing to your brain and your nervous system that you are in danger, that we must change the physiology of your body, tense your muscles, guard whatever is happening because you're in danger. Okay? And here we go. The more we get in pain, the more fear we get. And it keeps happening. So this is the FIRE loop in a nutshell. The reason this is so important to understand is this is how you can break it. Okay, this is the good news because you have control over this. The first step you need to do is to become aware. We cannot change what we don't know. So I recommend over the next few days to weeks, what have you, I want you to take a moment, pause every day, and be intentional and notice how you respond when you get a pain flare-up. Okay? Notice the emotions that you feel. Notice the thoughts you might have, the stories you're telling yourself. Notice the habits you get into, how you react, what you tend to do immediately when you feel pain. So noticing that is bringing awareness, and just that, you're actually starting to reprogram your brain. Because becoming aware of it, you can now teach your brain and your nervous system that, you know what I'm feeling right now is actually simply a physical sensation. I am safe, so it's okay. We can turn down the volume. It's a great way to calm the nervous system and to build new neural pathways into your brain. So even though your brain has learned this pattern, you can unlearn it. I hope this video helps understanding why you're feeling stuck. If you have any questions, comments, please feel free to write them down. The next upcoming videos, I will dive a little bit deeper into the relationship effect, so the relationship you have with pain, and also a little bit more into the facts response, so the behavioral response we have that are keeping us stuck.